Hi, folks. Welcome to Crisco's Corner. From PJ Media. Dems realize they can't win on Biden's record. Stake everything on Trump hate. Now, we're not talking about going after his record as president. A lot of good things happened. A lot of things that he did, the Democrats preach they believe in, but never did, like reform on putting nonviolent drug offenders in jail. There was a lot of people that he got released. Many of them were non-white. You look back at his history in the 80s and the 90s, there's all kinds of pictures. He even got an award once with two other people, and one was Rosa Parks. If you remember her, she was the woman in the South that started the movement that later became legislation in the Congress and the Equal Rights Amendment. It was the lady that refused to sit in the back of the bus. He got an award with her, and all of a sudden now he's this monster, this business cheat, this racist, this homophobe, and blah, 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 blah. Now, I'm going to read part of the article here, and then I'm going to show you a video from somebody. I believe she's quite a popular, famous podcaster. It doesn't really matter. It shows you the level of either grifter or severe Trump derangement syndrome. I've seen psychiatrists and psychologists say that Trump derangement syndrome is actually real. Let's read on, and then I'll show you the short video. Hey, have you heard the news? Our democracy is on the brink. Well, we're a republic, but an unscrupulous narcissist with dictatorial ambitions and a hatred for legitimate political opposition will win the presidency in November. Well, who doesn't run to be president that's at least in part a narcissist? Let's be truthful here. That will likely be the last time that patriotic Americans get a chance to elect their chief executive. From now on, if this sinister man manages to win, it's all going to be stiff arm salutes, and you got the rest. I don't know if you can say that, but their algorithm will pick it up. In fact, there is a real threat to democracy, America, continuing to function as a free republic. But that threat isn't coming from where Democrats are claiming. They're saying if the bad orange man returns to the White House, democracy will be dead. Trump will set himself up as a dictator, and America will finally become the fascist state that leftists have been claiming it was on the verge of being ever since an upstart has-been actor named Ronald Reagan threw his hat in the ring. Very successful president. I do criticize Ronald Reagan, though, for his making a deal with Tip O'Neill, the then Speaker of the House, to give amnesty to millions of people that crossed the border illegally, but that's another issue. Let me show you how deep and how crazy people have become with Trump derangement syndrome. I'll give you a fair warning. There's some foul language in here. It's only about a minute and change long, but she uses language that probably shouldn't be used, and I'll give you a fair warning before it starts.
As soon as he takes the oath, he will have generals walk down the steps of the Capitol. He will take a hammer and break the glass where the Constitution is, and he will tear it up in our faces. And say, now, I'm the king of the fucking world. You will bow down, bitches. He will punish everybody that didn't vote for him. Let me tell y'all how I know this shit. I know it because I know what mental illness looks like. That mania is unstoppable. See, this motherfucker's Hitler. He didn't come to play.
Well, what did you think of that? That's what's really out there. And that's the kind of rhetoric that's in all our universities. They might use that specific bad language, but that Trump derangement syndrome mentality is deep, deep in our universities and our local schools. The claim is not only absurd and offensive, it's a classic case of projection. Projection is when you put on the people that you're against or dealing with or in a race with, in this case, an election, you project what you're doing onto somebody else. The American Republic, yes, kids, it's not a democracy, is indeed in serious danger, but the danger is coming from those who are claiming they're trying to save it from Trump. Think about it. We have intelligence agencies going to social media companies and cable news and media companies there to influence what they say, and more importantly, what they don't say that's true. They're spying on people without warrants. They spied on the Trump campaign. They went to a secret FISA court. That was the out part of 9/11 and the laws that were passed after that, when the Department of Homeland Security is now, they're out of control. And this is some conspiracy nut stuff. This is all stuff that's been said. People getting their houses raided for praying in front of abortion clinics. The older grandmother that's just going to get sentenced this week, I believe, who said a prayer January 6th, walked through the rotunda for 5 or 10 minutes, never touched anything, never said anything out loud, never physically harmed anything, and then walked out after her prayer, is going to spend a while in jail. And at her age, that could be a death sentence. Peter Navarro, a former advisor to Trump, is getting 4 months in jail for not acting on a congressional subpoena when he said, I can't until the president releases me from executive privilege, and then later did, and they arrested him and tried him anyway. I could go on and on and on and on. Even if you're innocent, the punishment is the process, costing you hundreds of thousands, if not more, in legal fees and destroying you financially, especially when you're older. It's disgusting and it's wrong. It's unbelievable. About how a Trump victory in November would mean curtains for the land of the free and the home of the brave. How is dictator Trump going to do away with the Congress and the military and every other force that prevent him from canceling the 2020 election? Cohen, his former attorney, didn't say. Of course, Cohen was talking to Joy Reid. Interesting, her name is Joy when she's just the opposite. Said to Cohen, let me play what you said in 2019 about Trump when you testified before Congress. He said, I fear if he loses the election in 2020, there will never be a peaceful transition of power, and this is why I agreed to appear before you today. Reid neglected to point the obvious. Cohen's 2019 prediction was wrong. There was, in fact, a peaceful transition of power. Nonetheless, Reid continued, we now know there's been a 600% spike in threats to election workers following the lawsuit to take Donald Trump off the ballot. We're talking about election workers quitting in states like Arizona. I used to be an election worker. I used to be the guy that sat at the table when he came in to vote. I did that plenty of times. In fact, the first time I ever did it was the year that Bill Clinton ran for re-election. What a zoo. He predicted he would not leave office peacefully. He didn't. If he is convicted in this New York case, what do you think will happen next? Wait, what? Trump did leave peacefully. Did he have to be dragged out at gunpoint and somehow we missed it? Reid, of course, was referring to the left's biggest lies of the last few years. Their claim there was an insurrection on January 6th. An actual Capitol police officer that died several days after January 6th of a stroke of natural causes. And they showed the film. He wasn't fighting with anybody. He didn't have to put up with anything. He just wandered around. I saw the video of him just peacefully looking around. Didn't do anything. Didn't get upset. and they put his body on display in the rotunda where former presidents, justices of Supreme Courts, and other Americans that have served this country lay in state. It was alive from the beginning. He didn't die from January 6th. The guy had a stroke, and it was pretty odd at his age, but it does happen. I have several friends that age, that same thing happened to them. They put him on display in the rotunda. This is so disgusting, I can't even tell you. They inadequately explained how they expect us to believe that some grandmothers snapping selfies after being led in the Capitol by police will open the doors for them, and some guy with Viking horns could overthrow the government of the most powerful nation on earth. Well, they think this is medieval times. We take over the castle, so we're the king now. It makes no sense at all. There was a very small amount of people that acted like asshats, that smashed windows, caused damage. The only person that died was one of the people that came into the building. Unless you cause physical damage, you should have got a simple trespass charge, and that's the end. But the FBI and the Department of Justice is hunting down every single person using tens of thousands of man hours when they could be looking for criminals that have crossed this border and is wreaking havoc across the nation. Just beating up people, killing them, assaulting them sexually, and the list goes on and on. And yet, they're worried about some grandmothers, some people that wander around the rotunda, and a guy that picked up Nancy Pelosi's podium. Neither Cardinal Reed said anything about the fact that it was old Joe Biden, not Trump, who declares chief opponent and supporters a threat to the very foundation of the republic. Yeah. Remember that speech would look like an old party rally in Germany in the 1930s with a black background and the military guys? Ruling half of the electorate outside the bounds of acceptable political discourse. That's his version of Hillary Clinton's deplorables. It's amazing to me. Oh, gosh. Putting your opponent in jail or trying to destroy his life. Biden and his henchman, Merrick Garland, you remember him, he was put up by Barack Obama at the end of his second term for a Supreme Court seat. Well, there was a unwritten rule, a gentleman's agreement, if you will, that if a new president was coming in the next term, you did not put somebody up for the Supreme Court. You waited for the new president to do it. But Obama put up Merrick Garland anyway. And, of course, Trump rejected him as per the gentleman's agreement and appointed someone else, which passed through the Senate, and that person was sat on the Supreme Court. Now, Merrick Garland is the head of the DOJ, and he's getting his revenge. Merrick Garland had long and ever lengthening record of being intolerant of dissent, the tolerance of which is the foundation of any free society. Besides the Disinformation Governance Board that would have police speech, remember that one? They ended up killing it because the lady that was going to run it was a nut bar. Political free speech that descended from the leftist establishment perspective. The FBI and angry parents protesting at school board meetings. I forgot about that. They work with Twitter and other social media giants to silence and deplatform people who oppose views, and even send spies into Catholic churches. The Biden regime is the real threat to our democracy. That is our republic. But no Democratic protagonist or establishment media journalist will ever admit that. It's amazing to me the things that went on about free speech in the United States. How, well, John, just because you say something on Twitter or somewhere else on social media and the left doesn't like it, you're not going to jail. Oh, no, they just destroy your life. They get you fired from your job. You probably have a wife or a husband and kids to take care of, a mortgage and all the things that go with it. You just destroyed the person's life, but you didn't kill them, so it's okay. You just ruined their reputation forever. It's amazing to me. Absolutely amazing. The tide's starting to turn a little bit, but there's been tens of thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of people whose lives were irreparably damaged forever. And not just in Hollywood. In everyday corporate America. It's amazing to me. It's amazing how they've gotten away with it. How the intelligence agencies, Twitter, and all the other social media companies just let them go at any file they wanted to in anybody's account and read whatever they wanted to read in their personal direct messages, everything. Benito Mussolini, the old fascist dictator from Italy, that came up in the 1930s, his definition of fascism was when government and corporations merge together as one. That is fascism. And now we're seeing it. I never thought it would come here. I never thought it would come here. I never thought there'll be tens of thousands of people in every major city in the U.S. screaming anti-Jewish hatred, anti-Semitism out in the open. I never thought that would happen here in my lifetime, and I'm 67. So Trump is the evil monster. Yeah, he's not perfect, and I am a Trump supporter, full disclosure, and still am. Do you want a perfect person? There never was one. There never was a president that was perfect. But you do what you can. And Donald Trump and Joe Biden are the two candidates for president. Forget about third parties and all the rest of that stuff. If the Republican Party ever used their DOJ to go after a former president's aides and confidants and the former president, they would be held to pay. But for some reason, it's okay if you're a Democrat or an anti-Trump person because the end justifies the means. This country is pulling apart because of it. And as I mentioned, hundreds of thousands of people, lives are ruined forever. And 10 to 20 million people came into our country unlawfully. This is beyond anything that I could ever imagine the Democrats doing. And we even talk about elections because you're not allowed to do this on this website. It's amazing to me how they get away with it. I could go on and on and on, but I think you get the idea. There's a lot at stake. Is Donald Trump the perfect person he would pick 20 years ago or 10 years ago to help straighten this country out? Probably not. But that's the way the wind blew. He is wrong again. He's a former president. And things were much better in this country when he was president. And there's nobody with two brain cells touching that doesn't have a mental disorder called Trump derangement syndrome can deny that. Again, it's up to the American people. We're going to have to see, but all the Democrats have is Trump is a monster. He's a horrible human being. He'll destroy this democracy. We'll never have a real election again, and abortion. And that's all they have. Think about that, you Democrats out there, when you go to vote. Until the next time, God bless, goodbye, and good luck.